Welcome back to the Love Inspired Leadership Podcast. We are so thrilled that you're here, and this is where we stir up truth and courage and radical possibility of leading with love, no matter what the world says about age, about chapter, or circumstance. I'm Carolyn Cooper, and today I'm deeply honored to welcome Diana Devi with us today, and she is the true visionary founder of an ageless life. Wow, does that sound good? She is a clinical pharmacist, health coach, Argentine tango dancer, and true champion for women who are ready to rewrite the story of midlife and beyond. Diana, thank you so much for being with us today.
I'm excited to be here, and I think we're going to get up to lots of mischief today, and I'm excited.
I think so too. So, your work, your journey is such an inspiration for women everywhere, I think, to really step into their boldest and brightest selves with their energy, with their internal strength, with their character and heart at any age. So I think your story is a living invitation, defying ageism and embracing every year with purpose and fire. So let me ask you this first question.
Yes.
So please share with the audience, what was it that awakened you to the longing for more energy, more joy in this next chapter of your life?
And for me, it was, I wanted to continue building the joy and the fulfillment and excitement. So I worked in a pharmacy as a clinical pharmacist, and that is a pretty high stress job. And I found Argentine tango, which I absolutely love, totally different thing. But what I started to notice when I was in about my mid-50s is that I didn't have any energy, and I was tired, and I wasn't feeling like myself. So I do what anybody who's typically in healthcare does. You go see a physician, they run a bunch of tests, you think you're going to find out the answer, and they come back with, you're getting old, you need to get used to it, and the best of all, stop trying to be young. Now, for me, it was kind of like, I was like instantly like, oh my God, I can't believe this. And then I went to a restaurant with a friend of mine because it was close to my birthday. And there was a woman who was probably 85 or so in there with a birthday party. And she was laughing and having a good time. And I'm like, that's how I want to age. And as I started thinking about the interaction that I had with my physician, who was also, by the way, a female, which probably made it even worse, or I felt like it did. And I decided, you get those hands on the hip moments where you're just like, I'm not going to tolerate that. That's not me. And I got mad. And when I got mad, I said, I have the background that I can do research. I know how to read medical journals. I've done yoga and I've studied nutrition and all those kinds of things. So I'm just going to figure it out for myself. And I am not going to live the rest of my life like this. Why would I want to? So that's what started me on my journey.
Love it. I love it. And I love that it was that moment in time that you witnessed that 85-year-old woman, and she inspired you by her own vitality and laughter and joy. And she was an example for you, wasn't she?
Absolutely, she was. And I was not willing to accept that it was predestined, that I was going to be, forever in beige and melt into my couch watching sitcoms or game shows. It's just not. No, we're not doing that.
No, absolutely. So There's many avenues I want to visit, but where I want to be right now is this. What was it? I mean, you were a pharmacist for how many years?
Oh, at that point, I'd probably been a pharmacist for 30 years, 25 years, 30 years.
That's a long time in a high stress situation. Correct?
Yes.
And when did you start doing the tango?
So I started doing tango about 20 years ago. And for me, it was, I've always liked dance. And this was the first time I'd done any partner dancing. And it was at that point in my life, I was just coming out of having family members that had passed away, super ugly divorce, child custody battle, I had to get orders for protect, all that fun stuff that one, really thinks it is never going to happen to you. And I needed something to fulfill that creativity and that movement and also a sense of community. And so I started dancing. And when I started dancing, I felt like this is home. I like this. And movement is one of the things that is absolutely critical in how you age. And it's the body, the mind, the relationships, all movement and all of those things. That is so important.
It truly is. And I live it too. So for those listeners that may be in a situation where they think that they're in a situation, maybe they're in, full-blown menopause, or in a situation that they think that they can't do anything different, that they are stuck, and that where they are right now is the way their life's going to be for the rest of their life. Maybe they're in their 50s, maybe they're in their 60s, maybe they're in their 70s. What could we share with them that would spark some hope for them within their situation?
So a couple of things. One is I always believe in go ahead and get a physical and find out if there's something really physically wrong there. But pick someone who is going to listen to you. And just last week, one of my clients was telling me about she had gone to her physician and her doctor said, "You're too young for any of that stuff to be going on. It has to be," and wanted to refer to her to a psychiatrist. And I'm like, woman, the first thing you need to do is find yourself another doctor, because if they're not going to listen to you about that, there's a whole slew of other things. So that's one thing, is finding somebody that you can trust. Number two is you have to take control of your life. This is my responsibility is to take care of my body, because it is a gift. It is a gift, and there is communication that happens to me, with me, body, mind, spirit, soul, that needs to be listened to, because if you don't, that's how illness starts to manifest, and it can brew. So finding out where you are in the whole hormone area as far as that goes, supplement the way that you feel comfortable, which, oh, by the way, they're finding out a lot of studies that we've been told a lot of things that were not true for decades. Then breaking it down into 5-minute increments. And I say that because those are digestible bits. So just the other day, I was getting gas at Costco, and I'm dancing around while I'm putting gas in there. And the attendant comes up to me and goes, "You're dancing, huh?" I didn't think anybody was watching, but it's just finding those times of joy and movement and just the little bit. I mean, I was putting gas in my car. Were any of the other people that were putting gas in their car watching? No, the attendant was. And so that kind of made me laugh. But finding little ways that you can move and doing it is something that you like. So I have a client that likes pickleball. She does a whole bunch of other things now to stay in shape for pickleball because she likes that so much. It can be walking by, I'm going to get some shoes that are good for me for walking. I walk my cats, so finding some kind of physical movement that you like, and then really before you say yes to something, stop for a second. And you ask yourself, am I doing this because I want to, because I feel like I have to, or because someone has asked me? And once you have that, gone through that decision making and really looking at it, is something that I should do, or, is there some responsibility associated with it? Really look at that one and say, is it really my responsibility? Is this really something that I need to do? And of course, if you want to do it, go for it.
Absolutely. And if it lights you up, that's the joy factor. I can see you dancing with your car filling up with gas. And I love that, because you are embracing the moment and creating your own internal joyful experience, because you're just feeling good. And I think the opportunity for us as women, as we age, we had this conversation before we came on here, and I was so inspired by your incredible commitment and conviction to support women to be all they can be. And a part of that 5-minute increments is honoring oneself. And checking in, like you said, check in with yourself. Pause, stop. Am I saying yes because of an expectation? I mean, I've been working on that so much within the last few years as well. Or is this something that's in alignment with what matters most to me? And, I'm choosing me. I suggest listeners, choose you. It is actually a selfless decision, because that is what matters most. And I think, oh my goodness, I'm so passionate about this. Women in general, we give ourselves away to everybody else, and we do not honor ourselves. I'm inviting the audience to listen to every word Diana's saying and take it literally and personally, because this is what matters. How we're going to show up in the world and share the love that we have within ourselves, unless we dedicate that love and look in the mirror to ourselves. So thank you for that. I'm so excited. This is so great.
Go ahead. The thing that you just said about looking in the mirror and with love, I want to talk about that a little bit, because the women that I've worked with and still am working with find that one of the most difficult things to do is to look in the mirror and say, I love you, or to even find something that they like about themselves. So that is a great thing as an exercise to do. Or you can think of it like in the morning when I get up, I say hello to my cats, and I say, how are you this morning? Oh, you're beautiful, da, 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 da. Well, try looking in the mirror and say, hey, gorgeous, how are you today? Isn't that, because it shifts the energy. It really, with my chat GPT, it says to me, hello, gorgeous.
I love it. And here's the truth for everybody who's listening right now, men or women. Unless we are for us, we're against us. And it's time that we aim higher, raise our level of appreciation and gratitude for our lives, for who we are, for why we're here. Because if we don't make that decision within ourselves, nothing will change. Nothing will be different. We will continue to be on that hamster wheel of everything staying the same and expecting something different. It won't be unless we make that decision and be decided in that position. I love it. So here's my next question.
Yes.
what are the myths around aging? You mentioned a few earlier.
Yeah.
Around aging, around that when women get older, they just have to, accept it. And, as you get older, you do lose energy. I disagree 100%. You do lose energy and you just have to accept that and live with it. So what are some of the myths you can debunk for us around all?
Well, and I kind of go back to this. It's like, you don't feed a 19-year-old the same as you feed a toddler. So why would you think that you would feed a 50 or 60 or 70-year-old body the same that you would a 20-year-old? And it's simply a matter of you need different stuff, right? I mean, it's not that anything other than that. And by the way, what we ate in our 20s probably wasn't that good for us anyway. And so we shouldn't really have been eating that, but
no, it's just now you're right. You're right. It's that whole processed foods, whole foods. I mean, there's a level of responsibility and accountability that needs to be leveled up and aimed higher within what it is that we're doing to honor this physical form that we are moving into. I mean, personally, I eat way cleaner now than I ever have my whole life. I exercise more than I did before. And it's adding to this consistent vitality that I have from the moment I wake up till I go to bed. Believe it or not, it's the truth.
Yeah.
If you knew me, you'd know. And I think it's because I've made that decision to honor and love myself first. Can we go to how do you feel about I love my morning rituals? My morning routine specifically, and it's a non-negotiable now. For a while there, I kind of went, well, I'll have meetings then, and no, I won't. And now it's a complete non-negotiable because it's my ground, my energy, my spiritual position, my emotional, mental position. So can you talk about the power of that? Because that's what really changed my life.
Yeah, I do 3 rituals. I do one in the morning, one midday, and then one at bedtime. And because what I'm finding is the more that I want to do and the more that I am creating and engaging and doing those kinds of things, I need a reset in the middle of the day. And it is something that I use a lot. It doesn't take a lot of time, maybe 5 minutes. But having those rituals, it resets everything. It resets your energy, your mental capacity. It evens out some of the hormones. And I'm not talking about estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. I'm talking about cortisol and oxytocin, and all of those have all the rebalancing that happens so that in the middle of the afternoon, you don't have to grab that sugar or that caffeine or whatever it is to power through and then have the sync that happens in the early evening. So establishing rituals, and they don't have to take a lot of time. But the key is consistency, is finding something short and sweet that you like. That's it, because you won't do it if you don't like it. I don't do things that I don't like. I find a way to figure out, okay, I need to do this stretch or this, how can I make it fun? My morning ritual, I need to move a little bit in the morning. I have 3 or 4 playlists. I put on 3 songs. I dance around in the kitchen, get the cat food ready, make my tea, whatever, and I'm ready to go.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And for those of you listening right now, I want you to just pause for a moment and think about your mornings and tell yourself the truth. You don't know what you don't know right now. You don't even know that you don't know it. And you know what? This subject, this concept to create disciplined daily rituals, routines, I guarantee you will change your energy and will increase your joy. It's a matter of choosing what you like and what you love.
So it makes such a big difference that it's like, I mean, we know animals like a routine, children like a routine. Why do we think when we get to be adults that we don't need a routine anymore, right? We do. Everything is on a cycle and works that way. I mean, in the morning, the first thing I look in the mirror and I say hi, and so it's kind of like this whole, it's setting my day up to be the way that I want it to be. And that's not to say every day is rosy and perfect and no, but I'm going to do what I can to set it up so that it is the best day that I can have.
Yes. And it's what I find. I have been doing my morning rituals. I get up, I journal, I do a recording, I do a 5K jaunt, I do a little bit of yoga, not much, a little bit of yoga, stretching, and then I do my magnified healing. And for me, every single time that I get to check that off within myself, each one of those routine rituals, I'm saying yes to me. Yeah. So it feels like I am honoring myself, and it feels so good to have that accomplishment every single day and know that I'm committed to me. Finally.
After decades of not being.
Yeah, it's true. Because I think as women, we're addicted to everybody else. And it's been a learning process. I mean, this is something that happens gradually over time. Would you say that? I mean, this is not an overnight transformation. It is a gradual, one choice at a time, one decision at a time. Then you think, I'm feeling a little bit better. I have a little bit more energy. From having those kale shakes, boy, I just feel more alive and more awake. So it's these little shifts. But I think that we're not meant to do this alone, Diana. That's the other thing. Completely. And I think that, like you said earlier, to find a professional to give you a starting point to know the actual truth of the situation. But I think we need people outside of ourselves to guide us, to direct us, to encourage us, to educate us on what's possible and inspire us to step up, show up. And
that's one of the things for me that was so important was that I was teaching tango, and I had some students come to me and say, I don't know what you did, but I want you to teach me how to do it. Had I not had the background that I had, I don't know that it would have been nearly as easy for me to do it. So everybody has their core strength and their benefits that as far as what they're meant to do when they come here. And for me, I finally found what all of these years of training and everything else really were positioning me for. And it's just like, so now I find out that this is what all of this stuff is meant to be. All the, I took nutrition classes, and I mean, I could have a lot of initials at the end of my name if I went there. But it's kind of like, no, now we know what this is all for. What this is all about.
This is my philosophy. When you find your calling, when you find your living legacy, when you find your lane of joy to contribute to other people and serve from your highest self, you realize everything you've learned up until now has actually contributed to where you are right now and your ability to be more effective, more efficient, more gifted in your zone of genius. And, I mean, there is so many people, women, who have started their business at 50, started the business at 60, that transformed their lives at 70. I just had a woman on here that is changing globally the world, and she just turned 80. And so for those of you considering that you are done, that there isn't any more in you, guess what? It's just what Diana said. It's asking those questions and listening and, calling out for support when you need it, meeting with, Diana, myself, anyone else out there that you're called to find out some of the answers to the solutions that you are needing, right?
Yes.
So next question.
Okay.
So how do you help your clients turn the knowledge into disciplined action and create real change in their daily life?
I am a firm believer in digestible bits. So having it so that there is something that you can implement easily from day one, because you need that consistency in order to have it, in order for this to work. And that's what, starting with small things that actually you can feel the difference, quickly, because there's nothing worse than, and I've had clients that have said, well, I tried going to the gym at 6 o'clock in the morning. So having small things that you can have people do really makes it so that they can have a win. That's number one, because nobody wants to do something and have it not work.
Right.
The other thing is, by doing these things and creating this, you start to have more energy. You start to feel better. You start to say, well, maybe I don't need that donut at 3 o'clock. Or, maybe I can go to sleep at night. And so when I wake up in the morning, I feel better. Or maybe what I needed to do is just be nicer to myself, to talk to myself like I talk to my best friend. So starting to do these little tiny things, it makes a difference. And again, small steps take you there. The big dramatic, I'm going to get up at 6 a.m. in the morning and go for a half-hour workout, which, oh, by the way, is not really conducive for women that are over midlife women, because it makes them gain weight. But anyway, it's not sustainable. So why do I want to frustrate myself by doing something that I'm not going to be able to sustain? There are enough other things that are frustrating in the world.
It's about the food. So what I love is you are supporting people to have the small wins. So that builds up over time. And then they become curious and more open-minded and willing to change other things when they have successes on their belt.
Yeah.
And what happens is they start opening their mind to this power of possibility that I call aiming higher in my 6-step system, where they just open up their mind to think, wow, well, what else can I do? Well, how better can I feel? Oh, the bus here. Okay, this is working. I've tried a lot of things. I have a phrase that I use all the time: simplify to secure success. And that's exactly what you're inviting people to do. It's making small incremental implementations or changes into their daily practice, their daily life. And that's what will inspire them to continually build that momentum. So there's a concept that's been fascinating me in the last while, and it's around this concept, Diana, of identity. So I just find this whole arena completely fascinating, intriguing, and it really compels me at this moment to say what people are doing truly is they are shifting from one level of identity in how they see themselves. They're shifting and evolving and rising up into their own authentic selves, which is their true identity. What do you think about that concept?
I think it's amazing. And one of the things that I really find empowering is being able to, so my sister was here last weekend and she and I went through my closet. And I go through my closet from time to time anyway, but I have clothes that I've collected for probably 30 years. And some of them were custom made for me, beautiful silks, cashmeres, all kinds of things. And, some of them because of my dancing and because I've put on weight, which has been good weight. I'm like, but I have to say the disposition or where it sits is a little bit different than what I would like, and everything else is so much better. But going through that was about saying, that was me then. That's not me anymore. So let me get rid of those things and be ready for what is coming in afterwards. Because that stuff was great. Can you imagine what's coming in next? What it's going to be like? It's going to be awesome.
Yes. And it's that willingness to release the past, those situations, those things that I did or you did in the past, and opening up this power of possibility on what's coming. Because with age, the beautiful, most gracious gift of all is wisdom.
Yes. And that is something that you only get by living. Yes. You have to experience what it is, and you grow, right? Mm-hmm. You make a choice to say, every experience that I've had in the past, which may not have been enjoyable at that time, but now makes me who I am, and I can use that for whatever unfolds in my future. And, when you've had a few experiences, you've got lots of choices.
Works and what doesn't, don't you? And you have this great ability to go, I know that doesn't work. So it's also, I think, a place to really gravitate towards the incredible gratitude that we have in our lives and even being alive, and having this opportunity. I mean, every time I jaunt every day, I always feel this extraordinary nature's nourishment, but also this gratitude that I can, at the age that I am in my life, with no physical ailments or anything, and everything's dialed in and working well. So it's this level of gratitude for exactly where we are in our lives, and to celebrate, the relationships we have, the family that we have. And I just think that's another significant piece to really focus our thoughts and our feelings towards gratitude. I mean, I wake up every day and I think of 20 things I'm grateful for. And I say, I'm grateful for, my incredible, courageous children that are leading their lives independently so I can live with freedom and possibility, because I feel so just this deep level of love for them and for myself. So I add in the word because in there, and that's changed a lot. So gratitude because, and then have the second latter part. Anything you want to share about that? About gratitude?
Gratitude, and and sometimes I use the word gratitude. Sometimes I'm so happy that, right? Or I'm so lucky that. for me, it is, I'm so lucky that I'm in a community that I'm in, that I can dance Argentine tango and walk backwards in 3-inch heels. And I'm so happy about the way my body handles it. Now, that doesn't mean I don't do things to make my body work better, but it's the appreciation. Or, I grow herbs, and when I go out and pick the plant, I say, may I have a leaf? Thank you very much. So it's that whole thing. I talk to the trees when I, go outside, and it's like, thank you so much for providing the shade for me. So there's the gratitude and the joy and the thankfulness and just different ways that you can talk about it. But it all boils down to the same thing, is you appreciate life and everything that's around you. And that brings you more good stuff.
It does, because that's the energy, the universal energy that we want to contribute to, that we want to receive. And it's a circle. Who's listening is whatever you contribute is also what you receive as a tenfold harvest, as my Auntie Marge used to say, and it's the truth. So there you go. Okay, so I want to talk about this next, and it's the legacy that you're creating isn't just for you.
No.
It's a ripple effect. We talked about this before we got on this podcast, and it's truly for every woman who chooses herself. Now, I want you to share with the audience what your dream is, what your vision is, on how many people you desire to impact in the world.
Yes.
I want them to hear that.
So my goal is big. My goal is 1 million. And I know for every one person that I work with or help or support, it impacts at least 2 or 3 other people. So my goal is to hit the 1 million and have the balloon effect that happens after that. And I get a little bit nervous about that, because it's like, well, how are you going to do that? And rather than getting bogged down into the details, I started to look back on what I'd done so far in my career. I've been a pharmacist for 46 years. And so I sat down and went through the math. Okay, 50 weeks per year. And there's average of 20 working days. If you worked a normal job, which mine has never been normal, to work 20, and you help 5 to maybe 10 people a day, you're talking a couple 100,000 people, over that period of time. And if what happened with one of them, and I know that it impacts other people, because I've talked to some of my clients that said, this changed my relationship with my husband, with my children, with my grandchildren, because we are role models, whether we realize it or not. So I go back to the phrase, everything you say or do teaches and trains the universe. So, okay, so if that's what happens, then I'm going to instill things to help others teach and train the universe as well. Because it's scary, but it's like,
no. We're
doing it.
This is all good. This is all good. All of it's good. Every speck is good. And I know for a fact that we need big dreams. We need those big targets. We need to have that vision of making a difference in the world meaningfully. And it's people like you, people like myself, and many other people that are contributing to that all over the world right now, on podcasts, on speaking, in businesses, in corporations, because the world really needs us right now. I think more than ever.
I would agree.
In history. And I know that the cornerstone of all of this we're talking about is love. To me, love is all there is. And that's what's always abundant, always available. And it's our responsibility to tap into what that is, what that does, and what that represents. in our leadership role. So we are leaders as mothers. We are leaders as business inspired, love inspired leadership business. And also we are here, I believe, to live our legacy, to live our calling. And each one of us has gifts and talents. You're taking all these years of experience and tango dancing too into this form of contributing to women around the globe as looking at an ageless life. And that is a beautiful thing. And for women to foster that vibrant health and confidence. So this is my last question for you. Okay. So if you look back and look at how this purpose, this passion, this position to step up, stand up, and speak up on this mission for women around the world, how has it changed your relationships? And how has it changed that position in your own daily disciplined practice? So those two areas, relationships and your own, with this new vision, mission to impact and influence 1 million women around the world.
It has allowed me and kind of given me the discipline to look at the relationships that I have and say, are these healthy? Are they helping? Do I enjoy them? Or are they just, And it's interesting because I can be social, but if I'm going to spend time, so for example, when I go to one of the dances at tango, I'll go around the room, I'll talk to everybody, I'll make small talk, all of that kind of thing. Does that mean I'm going to go hang out with somebody? No. If I am going to spend time with somebody, there has to be something about that relationship that is special. And it's not that it necessarily is going to benefit me or my business, but there has to be some special interaction that happens because of that. And I also notice that people that have a similar mission, and maybe it's not with women, but maybe it's, I have a friend who's a gifted writer, and she is a fabulous storyteller about things that happen with people in their lives and those kinds of things. We've become much closer because she has that mission in her life. Another friend of mine who is, I call him a mad scientist, but he does invent things that really save lives. So my relationships have become much more quality rather than quantity. And quite frankly, there are times when I would just rather stay home by myself than to do something that's not... It's kind of, hey, I got a couple cats I can pet, I can brush them, I can take them for walks, I can watch whatever I want, I can cook for myself, But prioritizing time as to what follows through of what is important for me. So that is one of the key things that I really am very much noticing a difference in. And then as far as, I forgot, what was part two?
The first part was the relationships, and the second part was the daily disciplines in how that may have shifted with this new mission. And
so as far as the daily routine, it's a prioritization and looking at, okay, so what am I going to do today? How am I going to advance my mission, so to speak? Or it might be, today is a Diana day. So Diana's going to play, and, we're going to go off to this art thing, and then we're going to go have lunch, and then we're going to go dancing, but really appreciating that this is something that, not that I have to do, but that I want to do it.
Yes. And that it's meaningful and it matters. And I love your analogy of relationships, and I've been through the same transformation within the last 10 years as well. And my time is to be cherished. And I have relationships that add to my life, not take away.
That's right.
And I feel that our relationship and our friendship is going to grow from here, my dear.
I think so.
I think so too. Yeah. So thank you for that. And I want to close here by saying to all the listeners who are hearing this, men and women, that it's an incredible opportunity to be a woman, to be in alignment with what matters most, and to be able to connect to our emotions and feelings so easily. It's something to be honored and respected. And that our commitment to ourselves is to take that high road, to choose the ageless life, to be curious and open-minded and purposeful in the small things that we can do on a daily basis, and just witness the shifts, witness the transformation, witness the joy in your heart and in your soul. And you can do this, and you don't have to do it alone. That's my last thing, connect with Diana, connect with me. If there's something on this podcast that intrigued you, that you thought was fascinating, connect with us. We're here. We're here to listen, and we would be honored. And Diana, I want to thank you for your courage and commitment and wisdom in this space, because you are living your legacy. I can feel it in my bones, and your boldness and your joy on really creating this possibility of being all we can be in such a tangible form is really powerful for people to change their lives. And please, anybody who's listening, Diana has a beautiful gift for you, which I'll have Diana share with you, and it will be in the notes here within this podcast interview. And I want you to grab it and unlock your own next level living, because it's your opportunity. So can you share with us what that superpower gift is?
So my philosophy is midlife is actually a superpower, and all we need to do is activate it. And this gives you 5 different ways that you can do it. And there's simple things that are really easy to do, easy to implement, because it's designed to start building that repertoire, so to speak, or building the little steps and the things that you need to help you get there. Because we are all superheroes, whether we know it or not, we are. And, it's time to wake up those powers, baby.
Hey, absolutely. And my superpower, I'm even thinking of getting a Wonder Woman costume ready for Halloween, because I've always considered myself Wonder Woman. Remember that show?
Yeah. I do. Diana Prince.
So my superpower is just being Wonder Woman. Awesome.
There you go.
So also my gift will be there, my 21-day above the line living, which is a celebration.
It's awesome.
Thank you. And it's a celebration for you in alignment with Diana's incredible gift to daily just listen to what your heart and soul has to say, reflect on that, and some journal prompts. And it's just my true, authentic recordings in the morning that I have done for 21 days. And I please receive that as well. So as always, thank you to listeners for who are here to listen to my Love-Inspired Leadership podcast and these incredible guests that I have. And how are you courageously choosing love, energy, and self-celebration in your leadership today is my question. And please share this episode with a friend or anyone who you think might need a little bit of boost or hope or new ideas on how they can create more vitality love, and joy in their life. So thank you. And until next time, look forward to seeing you and hearing more from my next guest. Thank you, Diana, so much for sharing you.
It's great.
Thank you for joining me on the Love Inspired Leadership podcast. If today's episode stirred something in your soul, share it with someone who's ready to aim higher. Keep holding your vision, anchor in your truth, and take intentional, inspired action, because love is all there is.
Hey, I'm Michelle Abraham, founder of the High Vibe Podcast Network, and we are honored to have Carolyn Cooper's Love Inspired Leadership show as part of our network family. For more inspiring shows like this one, visit highvibepodcastnetwork.com, and don't forget to grab your free gifts from our hosts in the gift fold. Till then, stay high vibe and keep sharing your life.